First contact deception. The Celestial Consortium's survey vessel Eternal Dawn drifted silently at the edge of the Sol system, its quantum sensors carefully cataloging the seemingly primitive civilization on the third planet. Captain Zaravex, her crystalline form refracting starlight as she moved, studied the holographic display with growing satisfaction. Another developing world, she noted to her crew. Type 2 civilization at best. Look at their crude orbital installations. They barely maintain a space station, and their planetary defense network consists of primitive projectile weaponry. Her first officer, Kel Moore, manipulated the sensor controls with his 4 upper appendages. Their most advanced vessels still rely on chemical propulsion. No sign of quantum drives, no gravity manipulation technology. They haven't even established a permanent presence on their moon. The bridge crew shared knowing looks. They'd seen this countless times before. Young civilizations that would benefit from the consortium's protection and guidance. The same civilizations that invariably accepted membership rather than face the consequences of refusal. What the consortium's sensors failed to detect, however, were the quantum-encrypted transmissions bouncing between Earth's seemingly primitive satellites. Deep within the Cheyenne Mountain complex, General Sarah Chen watched the alien vessel's every move through a network of advanced sensors disguised as space debris. They're following the exact pattern intelligence predicted, she reported to the United Earth Defense Council. The consortium's arrogance makes them predictable. They see what they expect to see. The council chamber, hidden 2 kilometers beneath the surface, hummed with quiet activity. Holographic displays showed the alien vessel from multiple angles, while quantum computers analyzed its every emission and movement. The room's occupants, military leaders, scientists, and government officials from every nation on Earth, watched with practiced calm. Phase 1 is proceeding as planned. Admiral James Rodriguez confirmed, his weathered face illuminated by the displays. Our surface installations continue broadcasting appropriate levels of primitive communications. The orbital charade is maintaining integrity. For over a century, humanity had prepared for this moment. The discovery of a damaged alien probe in 2047 had revealed the existence of the Celestial Consortium and their practice of uplifting civilizations, a euphemism for absorption and exploitation. Rather than panic, humanity had chosen patience and deception. The primitive-looking International Space Station was actually a sophisticated facade, housing sensor arrays and stealth systems within its seemingly crude exterior. Those basic communication satellites carried quantum entanglement communicators disguised as simple radio transmitters. Even Earth's visible military installations were elaborate props, hiding the real defensive capabilities that lay beneath. Dr. Elena Martinez, head of Tenopsychology, stepped forward. The consortium's behavior matches all our projections. Their species evolved in a highly structured crystalline hive mind society. They literally cannot conceive of deception on this scale. The idea that an entire civilization would choose to appear weak is outside their paradigm. On the Eternal Dawn, Captain Zaravex finalized her report to the Consortium High Command. Native species, human. Technology level, early space age. Military capability, minimal. Recommended approach, standard diplomatic contact followed by integration proceedings. These humans appear to be particularly primitive in their military development, focusing primarily on internal conflicts rather than space defense. If she could have understood the concept of irony, she might have appreciated how wrong she was. Humanity had not spent its history focusing on internal conflicts. They had spent it preparing for this exact moment. Every war, every battle, every conflict had taught them something valuable about adaptation, innovation, and the art of defeating supposedly superior forces. The Council watched as the alien vessel began its approach for first contact. President Helena Walsh stood, her voice carrying the weight of a century of preparation. Very well. Let them make their grand entrance. Let them believe they found another easy conquest. Operation Looking Glass is now in effect. Across the solar system, Hidden installations powered up while maintaining their stealth fields. Quantum encrypted orders flowed through the defense network, in bases beneath the lunar surface, in hollowed-out asteroids, and in underground facilities across Earth. Humanity's real military force stood ready. The greatest deception in human history was about to enter its final phase. The Celestial Consortium was about to learn a lesson that countless others throughout human history had learned the hard way. Appearances can be deceiving, and underestimating humanity was a grave mistake. As the alien vessel moved closer to Earth, General Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Like moths to a flame," she murmured. "They really have no idea what they're flying into." The trap was set. A century of patience was about to pay off, and the Celestial Consortium was about to discover that humans had perfected the art of war long before they'd reached for the stars. The masked sluts. The Celestial Consortium's diplomatic vessel emerged from quantum space above Earth's atmosphere, its crystalline structure gleaming with artificial majesty. At 12 kilometers long, the voice of enlightenment was designed to awe primitive species into submission through sheer scale and grandeur. Supreme Diplomat Tarvin stood on the command deck, his crystalline form pulsing with the subtle colors that indicated satisfaction. "Begin the standard Enlightenment protocol," he ordered. "Let us show these humans the glory of the consortium." Massive holographic projectors activated, casting images a kilometer wide in Earth's sky. The message began broadcasting in every human language simultaneously. "People of Earth, rejoice. The Celestial Consortium extends its benevolent protection to your world. Prepare for enlightenment." In the depths of the Cheyenne Mountain complex, President Walsh watched the display with her military commanders. "Right on schedule," she noted. "Always the same approach, always the same message." Admiral Rodriguez checked his quantum tablet. "All defense networks are ready but masked. Lunar Base Alpha reports full operational status. The asteroid belt installations are armed and tracking." The consortium's message continued, promising prosperity, protection, and advancement, all in exchange for mere total submission to consortium authority. Their scans showed millions of humans gathering in cities to watch their display, exactly as expected. What they couldn't detect were the quantum-shielded bunkers beneath those cities, the advanced weapon systems hidden in plain sight, or the fact that every gathering was a carefully orchestrated holographic display. Supreme Diplomat Tarvin prepared for the next phase. "Send down the Enlightenment delegation." Standard protocol. Shock and awe, followed by gentle but firm demands for submission. The delegation's shuttle descended toward the United Nations building in New York. Inside, Dr. Martinez watched through quantum-enhanced contact lenses as the crystalline aliens approached the assembly hall. "They're still broadcasting on frequencies they think we can't detect," she reported. "They're calling us charmingly primitive and discussing how quickly we'll submit." President Walsh nodded. "It's time. Colonel Jung, you have authorization to proceed with Phase 2. Across Earth's surface, carefully hidden quantum generators activated. The holographic veil that had hidden humanity's true development began to lift, not all at once, but in carefully calculated stages designed to maximize psychological impact. The first sign something was wrong came when the consortium's delegation attempted to activate their standard technological demonstration. Their quantum field generators, designed to awe primitive species, encountered unexpected resistance. "Impossible," the lead diplomat muttered as his display flickered and died. "Their atmospheric composition shouldn't." He trailed off as the room's lighting shifted. The primitive fluorescent fixtures faded away, revealing quantum illumination arrays. The wooden podium morphed into an advanced crystalline structure that matched consortium technology. Even the air itself seemed to change as Earth's atmospheric quantum field became visible to their senses. In orbit, Supreme Diplomat Tarvin received increasingly panicked reports. "Sir, we're detecting quantum signatures everywhere. Our sensors, they're being blocked by technology that shouldn't exist here." The facade of the United Nations building shifted before the delegation's eyes. quantum-engineered materials revealing their true nature. The human representatives sat calmly, watching as their visitors' confidence crumbled. President Walsh stood, her simple business suit transforming into a quantum-enhanced diplomatic uniform that outshone the consortium's gaudy attire. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice carrying the weight of a century of preparation. "We've been expecting you." "This is impossible," the lead diplomat stammered. "Your species, our surveys, showed exactly what we wanted them to show," Walsh finished. "Did you really think a species that split the atom, decoded its own genome, and reached its moon, all within a single century, would be so primitive?" In orbit, new signatures began appearing on the Voice of Enlightenment sensors. Hidden installations across the solar system dropped their quantum camouflage. Massive defense platforms emerged from beneath the lunar surface. Asteroid bases revealed their true nature. "Sir," a sensor operator called out, their crystalline form flickering with fear colors, "we're detecting quantum signatures from their planet's core. They've engineered their entire world." Supreme Diplomat Tarvin watched in horror as Earth's true face was revealed. The primitive space station morphed into an advanced defense platform. Thousands of quantum-dry ships emerged from hidden docks. Even their sun showed signs of human engineering, with massive energy collection systems appearing at its poles. In the UN chamber, President Walsh allowed herself a small smile. "Now then, shall we discuss real diplomacy? As equals? Or would you prefer a demonstration of how humanity wages war?" The consortium delegates faced a terrible realization. They hadn't discovered a primitive civilization to absorb. They had walked into the territory of a species that had mastered deception on a solar system scale, a species that had turned patience into a weapon and discretion into an art form. And now that the mask had slipped, they would learn exactly why humanity had chosen to hide its true nature for so long. Tables turned. The consortium's diplomatic vessel hung motionless in Earth orbit, surrounded by humanity's newly revealed defense grid. Supreme Diplomat Sarvin's crystalline form pulsed with colors of distress as reports flooded in from across the solar system. "Full tactical analysis," he demanded, his voice carrying harmonic overtones of fear. "Sir," his tactical officer responded, "human quantum technology appears to exceed our own by at least 2 generations. Their defensive grid, it's unlike anything in consortium records. They've weaponized concepts we never considered." On Earth, President Walsh led the consortium delegation through a quantum portal to humanity's real military command center inside Mount Everest. The crystalline aliens watched in stunned silence as they emerged into a vast chamber filled with technology that matched or exceeded their own. "You seem surprised," General Chen observed, standing beside a holographic display of the solar system. "Did you truly believe a species would develop nuclear weapons without considering planetary defense? That we would reach space without preparing for what we might find there?" The lead diplomat, still struggling to process the situation, finally spoke. "But your wars, your conflicts, you fought amongst yourselves." "We learned," Admiral Rodriguez interrupted. "Every conflict taught us something new. While you were busy absorbing peaceful species into your consortium, we were perfecting the art of warfare, strategy, and deception." The display shifted to show Earth's true military capabilities. Hidden bases in the Mariana Trench housed quantum submarine carriers. The Sahara Desert concealed a network of underground manufacturing facilities. Even the planet's magnetic field had been engineered into a defense system. In orbit, Supreme Diplomat Sarvin received an urgent transmission from the consortium high command. Their response fleet, dispatched as soon as first contact was made, had arrived at the edge of the solar system. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "they're being held in place, some kind of quantum anchor field." The humans had anticipated this too. Of course they had. President Walsh's quantum communicator chimed softly. "Ah," she said, "I see your response fleet has arrived. Don't worry, they're quite safe, just unable to move. We thought it would be better to continue our discussion without interruption. The display shifted again, showing the consortium fleet trapped in a massive quantum field generated by installations hidden in the Kuiper Belt. Ships that could traverse galaxies hung helpless, caught in humanity's carefully laid trap. You see, Dr. Martinez explained, her voice carrying the patience of a teacher. We studied the probe we found. We learned about your standard protocols, your technological approaches, your tactical doctrine. And we found them all lacking in imagination. General Chen stepped forward, her quantum-enhanced uniform shifting colors in a display that made the consortium delegates' own clothes look primitive. You rely too heavily on standard procedures. Your tactics are predictable. You've never faced a species that truly challenged you. That changes today, Admiral Rodriguez added. Right now, human quantum infiltration teams are accessing your fleet systems. We've already downloaded your complete technological database, your tactical protocols, your strategic plans, everything. The lead diplomat's crystalline form flickered with shock patterns. That's impossible. Our security is based on crystalline quantum encryption, Dr. Martinez finished. We decoded that a decade ago. Did you really think we would reveal ourselves before we were ready? In orbit, Supreme Diplomat Xarvin watched in horror as his mighty ship systems began responding to human commands. Across the solar system, the response fleet reported the same. Humanity hadn't just prepared defenses, they had developed weapons specifically designed to counter consortium technology. Let us be clear, President Walsh said, her voice now carrying an edge of steel beneath its diplomatic tone. We could destroy your fleet right now. We could send quantum viruses through your networks that would cripple the consortium's entire infrastructure. We could end this right here. She paused, letting the threat sink in. But that's not our way. Unlike you, we don't believe in forcing our will upon others. We're offering you a choice. The holographic display shifted one final time, showing a new vision of galactic politics. One where Earth wasn't another conquered world, but an equal partner. One where humanity's unique approaches to technology, warfare, and diplomacy could benefit the entire galaxy. You can leave this solar system and report that Earth is unsuitable for integration, Walsh continued. You can return with your fleet and test our defenses, or you can accept that humanity has earned its place among the stars, not as subjects, but as equals. The lead diplomat looked around the command center, finally understanding the full scope of humanity's deception. They hadn't just found a new civilization. They had encountered a species that had turned preparation into an art form, patience into a weapon, and deception into a shield. And now that shield had been lowered, revealing the sword beneath. The choice the consortium faced was simple. Adapt to a new reality, where humanity was a power to be reckoned with, or learn firsthand why humans had spent their entire history perfecting the art of war. The price of arrogance. The consortium high command refused to accept humanity's terms. Their response came swiftly, a declaration of war, transmitted through quantum channels they still believed secure. Within hours, 300 additional warships emerged from quantum space at the edge of the solar system. In the Mount Everest Command Center, President Walsh watched the incoming fleet with calm determination. They never learn, do they? No, Admiral Rodriguez replied. They don't. And that's their greatest weakness. He turned to General Chen. Are the Artemis protocols ready? Loaded and waiting. Every ship in their fleet is already compromised. Our quantum viruses have been dormant in their systems since they first scanned our primitive satellites. The consortium fleet advanced with textbook precision, forming the same attack pattern they'd used successfully for 10,000 years. Supreme Fleet Commander Ixlar stood confidently on his flagship's bridge, his crystalline form radiating authority. Begin the standard subjugation sequence, he ordered. Show these upstart humans the price of defying the consortium. The first shot was fired by the consortium. The last would be fired by humanity. President Walsh's voice was cold. Execute Artemis Protocol. Let's show them how humans wage war. What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for centuries to come. The consortium fleet's quantum weapons powered up, targeting Earth's major cities. But when they fired, their energy beams curved away, caught in invisible gravity lenses that humanity had positioned throughout the solar system. Impossible. Ixalar exclaimed as his fleet's weapons turned against themselves. Their defensive technology is beyond your comprehension. General Chen's voice cut through their command channel. Just like everything else about us. The human counterattack began with elegant simplicity. Quantum fields that the consortium had dismissed as background radiation suddenly activated, transforming into weapons that targeted the crystalline essence of the alien ships. Systems that had been dormant since first contact awakened, executing commands planted months ago. Admiral Rodriguez watched the tactical display with professional satisfaction. Phase 1 complete. Their primary weapons are neutralized. Beginning Phase 2. From behind every planet and moon, from within the asteroid belt, and from under the surface of Earth itself, humanity's true fleet emerge. Not the primitive chemical rockets the consortium had observed, but ships that represented the pinnacle of human military engineering. The human vessels moved with unprecedented coordination, executing maneuvers that the consortium's tactical computers couldn't predict. Each ship operated independently yet part of a greater whole, displaying the unique blend of individual initiative and coordinated action that made human warfare so effective. "They're trying to retreat," General Chen reported. "Just as predicted." "Of course they are," Dr. Martinez added. "Their entire tactical doctrine is based on overwhelming force against weaker opponents. They have no concept of fighting an equal or superior force." But retreat wasn't an option. The quantum anchor fields that had held the first response fleet now activated across the solar system, creating a vast trap from which there was no escape. Supreme Fleet Commander Ixalar watched in horror as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled. Human ships seemed to appear from impossible angles, striking with weapons that bypassed their strongest shields. Every counter-strategy in the consortium's database proved useless against humanity's unpredictable tactics. "How?" he demanded. "How can they anticipate every move we make?" The answer came from President Walsh herself, broadcasting on all frequencies. "Because we spent a century studying you, all pretending to be primitive. Because every conflict in human history taught us something about warfare that you never learned in your easy conquests. Because humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to adapt, to innovate, and to turn apparent weakness into strength." The battle lasted less than an hour. When it was over, the greatest fleet in consortium history hung dead in space, disabled by weapons they hadn't known existed, defeated by tactics they couldn't comprehend. President Walsh stood before the defeated Supreme Fleet Commander in the Mount Everest Command Center. "Now then," she said, her voice carrying the weight of victory, tempered with wisdom, "shall we discuss those terms again?" Ixalar's crystalline form dimmed with submission. "The consortium, we have never suffered such a defeat." "That's because you've never faced humanity before," General Chen replied. "We don't just fight wars. We learn from them. Every conflict makes us stronger. Every challenge makes us more innovative." "Your mistake," Admiral Rodriguez added, "was assuming that because we fought among ourselves, we were primitive. You never considered that those conflicts prepared us for this moment." The defeat of the consortium fleet marked more than just a military victory. It represented humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage, not as another conquered species, but as a power that commanded respect through demonstrated strength. The price of the consortium's arrogance had been the complete restructuring of galactic power dynamics, and as news of the battle spread across the galaxy, other species began to look at humanity with new eyes, wondering what other surprises Earth might hold. A new galactic order. 1 year after the Battle of Sol System, the newly constructed Terran embassy on the consortium capital world of Crystal Prime stood as a testament to humanity's unprecedented rise in galactic politics. Unlike the crystalline spires surrounding it, The embassy combined Earth architecture with advanced technology in ways that still confused and unsettled consortium observers. Inside, Ambassador Elena Martinez, formerly Dr. Martinez, prepared for the first meeting of the reformed Galactic Council. The irony of her new position wasn't lost on her. She had gone from studying alien psychology to reshaping it. The delegates from the Free Worlds Alliance have arrived, her AI assistant reported. They seem particularly eager to discuss human military doctrine. Of course they are, Martinez smiled. After what happened to the consortium fleet, everyone wants to know how we fight. The past year had seen a fundamental reshaping of galactic society. The consortium's defeat had shattered their image of invincibility, and in the power vacuum that followed, humanity had emerged as an unexpected mediator between species. In the embassy's grand conference chamber, representatives from 30 different species gathered. Some were former consortium subjects who had seized independence in the chaos following the defeat. Others were civilizations that had stayed neutral, watching from the shadows. All of them wanted to understand the species that had accomplished the impossible. President Walsh, attending via quantum hologram from Earth, opened the session. Welcome to the first meeting of the Reformed Galactic Council. Today marks a new chapter in galactic history, one of cooperation rather than domination. The consortium representatives, their crystalline forms notably dimmer than before, sat quietly. Their empire hadn't been destroyed, but it had been fundamentally transformed. Human advisors now worked with their military, teaching them concepts they had never considered: adaptation, innovation, the art of reading an opponent. Admiral Rodriguez, now Supreme Commander of the Combined Defense Fleet, presented the new Galactic Defense Treaty. The era of single-species dominance is over, he declared. Our strength lies in diversity, in combining different approaches, technologies, and ways of thinking. The human approach to warfare had revolutionized galactic military doctrine. Other species were learning that conflict could be a teacher rather than just a means of conquest. That victory didn't always require overwhelming force. That sometimes, appearing weak was the strongest position of all. General Chen, speaking from the newly established Galactic Military Academy on Mars, reported on the progress of the first mixed-species training programs. We're not just teaching tactics, she explained. We're teaching how to think differently, how to adapt, how to turn disadvantages into advantages. The implications of humanity's victory continued to ripple through galactic society. Species that had been content to remain technically stagnant now pursued innovation with renewed vigor. The consortium's rigid hierarchical structure was giving way to more flexible, adaptive organizations. The greatest lesson we can teach, Walsh continued, isn't about technology or tactics. It's about the strength that comes from embracing challenge rather than avoiding it. About the wisdom of preparing for the unknown rather than assuming superiority. In orbit above Crystal Prime, the combined fleet demonstrated new formation maneuvers. Consortium ships flew alongside human vessels, learning the art of unpredictability. Former enemy species worked together, sharing knowledge that had been hoarded for millennia. A young consortium diplomat approached Martinez after the session. There's something we still don't understand, they admitted. You had the power to destroy us completely. Why didn't you? Martinez smiled. Because that's not who we are. Humanity didn't spend a century preparing for war because we wanted conquest. We did it because we wanted peace, but peace through strength and mutual respect, not through submission. The galaxy was learning that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology, their tactics, or even their deception. It was their ability to turn enemies into allies, to find strength in diversity, and to teach others the lessons they had learned through millennia of conflict. As the council session ended, President Walsh made one final announcement. We've detected signals from beyond the galaxy's edge, she revealed. Something is coming. Something that makes our past conflicts seem insignificant. But thanks to what we've learned from each other, we'll be ready. The assembled delegates understood the implications. The galaxy was about to face its greatest challenge, but it would face it united. united by the species that had proven that appearing weak didn't mean being weak, that fighting among themselves didn't prevent fighting together, and that the greatest victory wasn't in conquest, but in turning former enemies into genuine allies. Humanity had changed the galaxy not just through force of arms, but through force of example. And as new threats loomed on the horizon, that example would prove to be their most powerful legacy of all.